Yeah, sure. Grape juice, coffee. What are they doing? Everything's left. Thank you. Good morning. Good morning. What? A girl asked the question: is it okay for her to go swimming with dolphins? Because he was quoting the question. Because they make you wear swimsuits with pants. Huh?
What's dolphin? The dolphin? It's cold water.
Right. Okay. So, several nakudas. One is there's a tznius issue. There's a lo yilbash gever issue, which we touched on last week, which is there is. I mean, if it was, there's a woman and a man could go be roichets, ala nor. They just have to be separate. They can't be together. So if it was swimming, all women's session, swimming with dolphins, there wouldn't be much of a shaila here. Even then, there would be a little bit of a shaila, maybe you could say that it's a lo yilbash, but it's not really lo yilbash. The type of suit that they're wearing is not real pants. It's not wearing pants. They're wearing a certain beged that just whatever, but for it, it's pants. If it would be shaykh to wear a short skirt over it, it would be toyvel manoyim. Today there is a thing called in the front store the shrimp clyde. Shrimp light, but it has to. Chas v'sholom. Yeah, it's very important to. I don't know. We have arguments with. Here, let me give him. It's a kedai. So, shrimp light is a very nice thing theoretically. It has to be done in a way that's 100% safe. If it's it's very cute that the kids like to have shrimp lights, but if it's not safe, then it's not mutter to wear in the other hand. I don't know if enough studies were done on a shrimp light. Problem is, it's such a small market.
It's also not smooth.
No, why is it? Very tzniut. The problem is the opposite. I think it's not safe. What happens, chas v'sholom, if they're swimming and they do a maneuver and the Clyde goes all the way up? And if it's a long Clyde and it goes above their eyes and they get disoriented, 1 second, it could be a sakonas nefoshes. I see it as a terrible sakona.
It be done in a way that on the bottom of the skirt.
Yeah, some of that. If it's done in the right way. If it's done in the right way, it's I'm just saying, yes, be the chas v'sholom to wear a dress, something that could be sakonas nefoshes. Anyway,
skiing is the same thing, the same idea, because a lot of women think that when they go skiing, they could go with pants. It's made for women, but
right. It's a problem. So, but there's another issue here. There's another issue. I'm just going to read the tshuva the way it is in Even Ezer from the Igris Moshe, and you'll make your own judgment on this. But varim ekermes rechitza l'noshim shashem elahatzel shachatz v'sholom idish ish achas meritz edbaz b'tzorich latzilu ish. When I show this ish shemeres das lirchitz sham. From a woman is asking, father is asking if the girls could go to a beach where the lifeguard
male.
Yeah.
No problem.
The lifeguard is male.
It's problem.
In a Mekiven Shamokim Kavur Chitas Nashamu, Kamoy Bebesa, Vembazem Shum Pritzes, Beshvil Echet, Shnimza Sham. It's no pritzes because it's as if it's in our own house. It's a place for Noshim, it's not a place for Anoshim. Shalok Avon of pritzes. Ela kavanas malachtoi. Wo b'shosh ahar b'noshim reichshim shalashayich inser dichut af leprutzim. ואף שבורו שיעונש על זה שעוסק בטייבוס, שידי זה שלא יהיה שייך שיעשה מלאכת לידס עם חדושון, יש צורך הצולו, וגם הוא יורד מלאסק לזה, דשם ידע עוז, אחס, שטויבס ולא ידע להצילה, שעוז ועדה יגע לכל אנושים, שאוי זה משום שעוסק בטייבוס, ולא במלאכת הצולו, שסחרו על זה, וידנו ודינים מלכוס כרוצח, שלכן like איסר ממש.
Like a doctor.
Yeah, here, let me give you
But not like a favor.
Oh, actually, this is better.
And if
It
you
says-
control who is the lifeguard, you wouldn't put him unless he's the best.
מקום אתם נושים יידיש שמיים, ובפרט נשי תמיד התחומים, אין להם לרחוץ שם, ובעליהם, התמיד התחומים, יש להם להקפיד, ולמוינים מזה, אם אפשר לפונף, כי יש לוחס ששמה נוסן עינב בו, וישתדו לו לבייסו, בשוש אין ביילה בבייס, יפתנו או ינסנו, ואף שהוא שש רוחק, רואי לתלמד כוחם ורוחוש לזה, צעץ, כשאפשר באופן שלום. Interesting. I'm just reading to you the way it is in the Igris Moshe. So, saying technically, he says Mitzad Adin. You could say that if it's only women, there are a lot of heroic. It's no tznius issue. A woman's allowed to go to a bathhouse. She's not Chas v'Shalom chains.
But they got lifeguard.
Oh, the shaila is that the lifeguard. Elamai, you could say he started the malachtoi. You could say he started the malachtoi. You could say shaila is if the guy is really taka started the malachta the whole time or not. So saying you can argue that he started the malachtoi, and therefore it's mutter. Well, the pile. And Moshe's advice is that it's not such a good idea. His human nature is that he's not so taught the malachtoi, and there could be a mitchell from it.
Well, was him to be occupied with his work?
Yeah, that he's occupied with his work, so he has no time to look at anyone or anything. He's like,
But his work is looking at it. That's good. That's
but looking on what way, so
You have to make sure they don't drown. I mean,
Right.
ideally, that they don't drown, not that's,
okay,
that is the Shabbat drowns.
okay.
Yeah.
So that's what he's saying. That's why technically,
Does it matter if he's Jewish or not Jewish? Because the Jewish I had concerned.
Look at the last line.
look at the last line, so you'll see there's no difference if you're Jewish or not Jewish.
Towards the line.
Okay. So to summarize, number one, there's no problem for women to go to bathe. She doesn't have to wear. There's this whole thing with the shrimp clyde is sometimes I'm shagas, and I think can be dangerous too. It's overdone. If a girl is going swimming with other girls, a woman could be roichetzes. They don't have to have any begodim on them. So if they put on chas v'sholom a shrimp clyde, which is going to make even a chash of danger, I think is it's mutal on the parents and on the machanchim and the machanchas to make sure that the girls are not thinking of something that's sneers that really is a sakona. On the other hand, on the other hand, to go to a beach or to a place where the man is what's called I guess Moshe advised against it. Now, with the getting dressed, it's totally in the shiloh that we asked last week. To move in, it's better if she can wear a short skirt, a short shrimp. If I don't know if they make it a short shrimp clyde, which then the pants that's underneath could be considered like it's only covering the birkayim, which even though our minig is to cover birkayim, it could be considered like socks or tights. It's not the sabasage. If you put on a short skirt, is a good thing.
It's not dafka if you put skirt, mini skirt, it's more ta'avak l'chemet.
No, but not to wear pants.
So
And they say it should be up under the knees the minimum that the maximum that could be that if that part is going to go up, it's not going to cover the eyes.
I didn't. When I said a short skirt, I didn't mean a mini skirt. I mean, I meant from your Yerechaim ad Bekayim. I meant till the knees. And what I meant to say is exactly what someone explained. I'm very nervous when I see the kids buying these long shrimp flights because in my mind that's super dangerous. In my mind, what would be safe is the one that finish right here. So even if it goes up, so we're talking about, so if it flips up, it'll go up till here. So it would be safe. Anyway,
There is some of them that they have like
that
on
is
the bottom, sewn on the
sewn.
bottom, a piece of material that is exactly the thing, with two holes
it's
in the
safe.
middle, so
Okay.
the legs go in between. And
Where's your swimming with the dolphin?
Huh?
Where's your swimming with the dolphin? Street or there's one in the ocean?
She didn't ask. She didn't tell me. She texted me the Shiloh. That's why I brought the English Moshe. Basically, I think it's a bad idea. What I'm saying, it's a bad idea. The father will. Huh? That's fine. Yeah. Right.
it's melting, it's melting.
Right.
They can pass it.
There's a little difference. I have to say, it's not so terrible to go swimming in the dolphins. If in the case of it, Moshe, I don't know. She probably is going to some place like SeaWorld or something like that. In the case of it, Moshe, the women are mostly undressed. Mashenkin here, they're fully dressed. They're dressed when they're going swimming with dolphins. I never went swimming with dolphins. I don't know, but I assume they're dressed head to toe, mamish. So Elamai, the Shaila, it's not really that. It's not the same Shaila, but a Moshe. I'm just bringing it up since it's the summer and someone asked me a Shaila. It's not exactly the same. Swimming at the beach, she's mostly undressed. And what Moshe is talking about, so we'd say, and his maskana is that better not. Here, they're dressed from head to toe. The only Shaila is it's the number one, lo yilbush gever is seamlessly. Number two, even today, people say, today it's no thing as lo yilbush gever seamless because women also wear pants. But if you go in the airport, you go to a mall, and you look at a symbol in the bathroom, what's a men's bathroom, what's a woman's bathroom. So a man is with a pair of pants, and a woman is with a skirt. The violet's still that way.
That will be an antique in a matter of time.
When that will become an antique, we'll revisit the Shaila. But since the last time I've been in an airport, that's been the way it is. So Zaraya, that the pants is simlas gever and the skirt is simlas isha, and therefore it's a problem. And the best way is if she could wear something. What I meant, the short skirt is till the Bekayim, and then there's no Shaila that for sure she could go swimming with the dolphins. Enjoy the dolphins. Okay. There was something this week. My father asked me a Shaila this week, and I was going to get to it in the Wednesday night cheered, and then I didn't get to it. So I want to use this opportunity to talk about the Shaila. Basically, there's an issue that the RIshon talk about. The Shabbos and Yom Tov Zachim eat pas. How much pas? Bottom line is the Alter Rebbe says you should eat a kabetza pas, not a kazai, it's a kabetza. And how much time should you eat this kabetza pas is the question. Another thing is, the Beis Yosef brings in Simon Kufnol Chesed Beis that the Rekeach had a suffix. If a person eats less than a kabetza, if he's mechuyev to wash his hands, al netilas yadayim. Shulchan Aruch paskins that you only wash your hands and make a bracha al netilas yadayim if you're planning to eat bread of a kabetza. If you're not planning to eat a kabetza, then even if you can eat one crumb of bread, you should wash. You should make hamoitzi, but you shouldn't make the bracha al netilas yadayim. Very, very important. I see many people miss that little nakuda. Yes, even if you eat a crumb of bread, you make hamoitzi, and even if you want kazayis, you make berkas hamazon. But you don't make the bracha al netilas yadayim unless you're planning to eat a kabetza. Now, the Shari Tshuva says, what's if you change your mind? Nishkefeh. But then Ishmaisim for them. They're not going to hold you in Gehenna when they're going to go through all the list of stuff. They're not going to hold you in and say, you plan to eat a kabetza and you made the bracha al netilas yadayim, and then you didn't eat a kabetza. Let's whip you for that as well. They'll let you off the hook for that. They're not going to bother you on that one. Huh? No, it's not. Because you were planning. Because bedaitcha, you were planning. It's not like, because that's what Chum said. Chum
humanity believes that we didn't eat the
It's nicht gefährlich. That's what Chum said. If you think to eat a
Like the
kabetza,
reverse.
you're contemplating. Now, what could you do? So you did the right thing still. You'd washed. You lost the schus of birchas and mitzvahs. You can't go back and wash now and make a bracha because you already washed. There's nothing you could do really, unless you made a real hes chadas and then you're mechuyev washing hands again. Yes, but otherwise there's nothing you can do. Listen, you did the mitzvah and you lost the bracha. What could you do? You did the right thing. Okay, let's read a little bit in the Alter Rebbe. There is a chidush. All the Meforshim ask on the Beis Yosef, there's 105 shilas here. And the Alter Rebbe is miyashevit boifen nifla in L'Shonei Azov in the Shulchan Aruch Harav. Never mind the questions, just to understand the sugya. Let's see what the Alter Rebbe says. The Alter Rebbe writes, "Afila pas gemura. Afila pas gemura. Imeina oichem elok fochus mekabeitza baloki plasa. Yesh listapik. If he's eating less than a kabeitza, never mind, big plus, it's a small amount difference, whatever. He's eating less than a kabeitza. Yesh listapik. Im tzorach Ntilas yodayim, like shabbos mekabeitza, en nikro oichel, yin tumas oichel, shmepnei zayin, betama mashkin, oichel, machin, shinogagoi. Food cannot get off tuma unless it's a kabeitza. Shenemer, as the pasuk says, makol oichel asher yochel. A chazal darshan from here that it has to be a kabeitza. If it's less than a kabeitza, it doesn't give off tumah. Very important thing. It takes tumah even if it's a crumb, but it doesn't give off tumah unless it's as big as a kabeitza. But any food, food doesn't give off tumah unless it's the size of a kabeitza, but it can take tumah even if it's a little crumb. Here's what the Alter Rebbe is starting to explain very well. What was the Rishonim problem over here? If we're saying that Choma put a Tuma ma yodayim. Now, if I touch something, if it's Truma, it's going to become Tomei, unless I wash my hands. So Mishum Srach Truma, they said the Kohanim and all Klal Yisrael, because they wanted the Truma should always stay pure. And also Bizman Hazeh, okay. But why? Because maybe I'm going to touch and I'm going to make it tummy. Now, if I touch even a crumb, my yodayim, stam yodayim askonis, the shniyim l'tumah, and if I touch truma, becomes tummy. So what's a shayla kabeitza, not kabeitza? That's what all the Meforshim ask. The Alter Rebbe explains. Chachamim lo yitzrichun until it's yodayim b'chulim mishum sarak truma ela b'achila v'loy b'negiya. We see that if you work in a bakery or in the house, you're touching bread. Why didn't Chazal say you're mechuyev to wash? Maybe it'll be a loaf of truma, and you're going to touch it. Yodayim askonis, and you're going to make it tummy. Whatever it is, when Shlomo Rab Melech decided to make this takona of Ntilas yodayim, Shlomo Melech said, "Mishum tzarach truma," he said, "I'm making the takona only by achila, not b'negiya." They didn't want to be so machmir. Upachas mekabeitza kiva she'ein nikra oichel inyan tuma. L'gabi tuma, less than a kabeitza is not considered oichel. Ein achilos chashuv b'achila l'inyan Ntilas yodayim. Lefikach hitel yoda velo yevorech. Afilo oichel kolsher tzarich dos lam labrocha. But the oichel kabeitza afilo mepirurim dakin. Yevorech al Ntilas yodayim. Shaf she'en mitzvah from the kabeitza linyan tumas oichel. Makom magnikim she'oichel amachbes. Teichmei shira nikra oichel af linyan tumas oichel. Machilos chashuv achila linyan Ntilas yodayim. Aber the moiches chaticha gedayel she'esh ba kabeitza v'yosef oichel mena pachta kabeitza. Hitel belo brocha. Heil vein oichel shira nikra oichel linyan tumas oichel. End quote, period. I mean, it's just a brilliant shot from Alter Rebbe to explain. Alter Rebbe is not machadash here, a din. He's just telling you what the din is. Otherwise, before Shem ask a million questions, it doesn't make sense. So the Alter Rebbe explains. When Shlomo Melech made a takona of Ntilas yodayim is only when you eat, not when you touch. Now, usually in Kol HaTorah Kula, what's considered eating? As a kazayis. Here, because it's an issue of Chumah v'Tahara, a shir of oichel is a kabeitza. Now, the Alter Rebbe comes out with this, saying, therefore, if a person should eat little pieces, that the bread is cut up in pieces, and not one piece is a kabeitza, but yois in your stomach, you're going to end up having a kabeitza food in your stomach. So you have oichel, So this is where Shlomo Melech made the takana. Chazal made the takana that you have to wash your hands to make the bracha on Ntilas yodayim. But on the other hand, if a person picks up a big loaf of bread, but he's planning to bite off less than a kabetza, so you could say, well, look, I don't understand. I could give off to him even to a crumb. The loaf could give off to him because it has more kabetza. So, but still, Chazal said, are you eating now a kabetza? No, you're eating less than a kabetza. That's not considered achila. Lagabe tuma betada. You don't have to wash, just like if you worked in a bakery or you were handling bread. You don't have to wash. You only have to wash when you eat achila, and achila lagabe tuma is a kabetza. As I said, the din is the din of Shulchan Aruch. No one argues with the din, or with the Gra does. He holds at the Kazais, but most places hold like the Rekeach, the Kabetza. The only thing is that to explain why. Al Rebbe has a beautiful way of explaining what the Rekeach holds and why the din is this way. Again, Chazal made a takona that you have to wash your hands because you're giving off Tumah to Truma. Even though now you're eating Chulin, but still, Mishum Sarach Truma, they said that you always have to wash, not only if you're Kohen, also Yisrael has to wash. But they didn't want to make this Gezeda across the board, that whenever you touch a loaf of bread, or whenever you touch a bagel, if you work in a bakery, you have to wash. They said, we're going to make this Gezeda only when you eat. And what's considered eating, it's a kabetza. So therefore, the bottom line is, if in your stomach ends up being one kabetza food, you're mechuyev to wash your hand to make a bracha on Ntilas yodayim. And if you're going to have in your stomach less than a kabetza, then it's a suffix, and therefore you should wash without the bracha on Ntilas yodayim. Oh, how long? So the Siddur Ntilas yodayim, the Alter Rebbe writes, "Vashir l'tzarev kabetza hu sheyochel kol kazayis b'chdei achilas pras." Every kazayis should be in achilas pras. What does Alter Rebbe mean to say? It means to say that we pass that a person should eat a kabetza, and we said that the sheet of time is not endless sheet of time. So Friday night, versus starving the whole day, didn't eat. He's going to probably eat a kabetza of the achilas pras. Shabbos morning, he went to Beis Menachem, went to sudas, this and that. He came home 1 o'clock. He's starving. It's time we can eat a kabetz b'techilas pras unless it's a kiddush. But by sudas shlishis, he might not be that hungry, and he's going to think he's going to eat less. No, you have to be makpid to make sure that even though Chalav Shudas, but there's a Shaila about Ntilas yodayim, and there's a Shaila about being Yoitz to the Shabbos, so you have to make sure that you're eating a kabetz b'tei achilas pras. The thing is, the Alter Rebbe didn't say clearly so what's the Zman of b'tei achilas pras? Is ranges what Pois can say today. It goes for as high as 9 minutes and goes as low as 4 minutes. It goes lower also. I think more today the going thing is 4 minutes.
Is 9 minutes for the Seder? For the Matzah and the Seder?
No. People are makpid today to do it at least 4 minutes, at least 6 minutes. We go with 9 or 10 minutes. You have kippur when someone's sick. The shaila is how big the intervals are, and we want to give the biggest interval that every posek will agree that you didn't eat a kazais or kizeves b'chdei achilas pras. So we tell people to wait 9-10 minutes. But when you want to do the mitzvah that Eibusher says, to do the mitzvah as matzah, alachilas matzahs, the pashtetzach, we want to do that. Every opinion will hold that we did the mitzvah. Trying to do it in 4 minutes. Tzemach Tzedek, this Shaila, what Tzemach Tzedek said, the 42nd, but Tzemach Tzedek said 6 minutes. 6 minutes. But yeah.
Better 4, but
Yeah. Yeah.
okay.
So, okay. Now, what did the Tzemach Tzedek, what did the Alter Rebbe here say? It's very unclear in his words. He says, Bashir l'tzaref kabetz, u'sheyoichol kol kazayis b'chdei achilas pras. In one achilas pras, in 2 achilas pras, 3 achilas pras. Do the achilas pras have to be glued together? Not. how many zaysim are in a beitza is a machloikis, 2 or 3. Now we don't know exactly what the zaysim bizman hashas are. Now the beitzim bizman hashas, the machloikis. Rav Avraham Chaim Noah says we know. The Chazanish says no. The Chassam Sofen, the Yehuda said niskatnu a beitzim. So not on the machloikis. But Rav Avraham Chaim Noah holds we know exactly. He measured it with the darham from Egypt. We know what a beitz is. Okay, so for most Yidden who follow the Rav Avraham Chaim Noah, it's okay. We know what a beitz is. But how many? The shaila is how big a zayis is now. We know what a beitz is, but the shaila is there 2 or 3 zaysim in a kabeitza? No. Huh? He doesn't say it's about 2 ounces.
4 grams.
Gram. He goes in grams. That's the problem.
7.4.
Yeah, you go.
7.4, 54.7. I don't remember.
How big the olive is?
So
Two. Oh, it's 51.
okay. So now the shaila is what the Alter Rebbe meant. So it could be 4 pshatim. 4 pshatim. The Tehillah David says Tehillah David was a very choshev at Poisek in Berditchev. He wrote a sefer Tehillah David. It's printed in the back of a lot of Shulchan Aruch. They've David Urkot. He was super sharp, super gone. And most of his thing is Shaklavataya and Shulchan Aruch Harav. I don't know too much of him. I know he was not a Lubavitcher Chosid, but I know that most of his sefer is Shaklavataya, the Shoynas of the Alter Rebbe. So he has a handle on the Alter Rebbe's shittas. He writes.
He was after or contemporary?
Yeah, he printed a sefer. His sefer was printed about 100 years ago. Berditchev at that time was a Yirvei B'Yisrael. It was a Poisek in Berditchev. Okay. You don't care.
Is it Hasidic? Is it
I
Hasidic?
don't think so. I don't think so.
I thought only Hasidim followed the Shulchan Aruch.
Oh, why? Especially in this issue, I did a search, and I used no other place can talk about it. Only the Alter Rebbe. It's not so clear what the Alter Rebbe says. So everyone talks about this lotion the Alter Rebbe. So,
We read what did Sirach What did you read Sirach?
Sirach, connection, issue, because the issue of Teruma. Because of the issue of Teruma.
What did hot ruler, what did we
Real bread.
real bread, we call it still Stein?
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Bottom line, the Tehillah David says that, yeah, so let's for argument's sake, so now we're going to talk to the Achilles Pras in 6 minutes. So the Tehillah David says that the whole thing has to be eaten in 6 minutes.
Yeah.
The whole kibetza. Why? Why? I'll tell you in a second why I think he said that. Avraham Chaim Noah says, no, it's impossible. Now we'll look soon in the Lashonas that Avraham Chaim Noah brings. There's who says what? We'll talk about soon. I'm just going to say what seems to me that the first shit is here in the Alter Rebbe. Second shit has to be say there's 2 kazaysim in Kedei Achilas Pras. There's 2 zaysim in a beitza. So you have to eat this kabeitza in 12 minutes. Third shit is maximum 17 and a half minutes. Why? How do I get to 17 and a half? If there's 2 zaysim in a kabeitza, well, who says that it has to be mitzudif? But it has to be a little bit mitzudif. I'll show you soon the Lashonas. So 6 plus 6. And then you have to be in between a little less than 6. Up to 17 and a half minutes. Fourth shita.
Like a 3.
That's if 2. If you say that we say there's 2 zaysim and a base.
Okay, so
Yeah, I'm saying lahach. Okay. Yeah. And the fourth shita would be that no, you eat. Say you started Shabbos meal, and you eat kazayis within 6 minutes. And then you eat the whole meal. An hour later, before dessert, you say, "Oh, 1 second, did I eat a whole kabeitza?" So you eat now a kazai is b'chdei achilas pras. Eat now a kazai is b'chdei achilas pras. You don't need a mutza machaber. You even have a mutza mafsek. Okay, so let's read a little bit over here.
normal person.
Yeah.
When we say koiveya, so we go for the class.
Yeah.
He doesn't necessarily, unless he looks at the Shulchan Aruch, think that he has to eat everything fast. So why don't we leave it according to what people think and think that Shlomo Melech lechatchila thought like that? This is the way people eat. That's it. For me, it's chashuv to eat a kibetza or bread, even if I don't eat it altogether. Where did it become? There has to be according to a certain achilas pas, not to be chashuv or not.
Okay. I mean, within Taka, there's even within this, the place can have a whole discussion. If the Achilas Pras, is it fixed, or is it because different things take longer or shorter to eat? But Lepoil and Seder B'Sanan and the Alter Rebbe seems to think that it's a fixed zman. So
Sometimes you say that how to wash your Kovea Sauda, you say that you're allowed to add all the other foods. We say that if eventually we eat the kibetz, so all the other foods are also part of it.
no.
So
So
why
have a
one
kibbutz
year,
pass.
one not?
No, because it's you know what? Nevis is the shaila is a shaila, but Lepoil, that's the din. The din is that Ntilas yodayim is a mitzvah from Srachto, and also the Shabbos. It's pretty. That's what the Alter Rebbe says.
Like Pesach, you have
You
to
know,
sit down and
I'll tell you
prepare
what.
first.
It depends how you serve a Shabbos meal. If you're doing it Israeli style with a lot of dipping on the table, so you can have the dipping on the table right away, and adarabah, the dipping make that the people eat a lot of pas. So they end up eating plenty, 25 kibbutz. But if you're eating not Israeli style, eating bosav adogim v'chol matamim. So what happens is, if you bring out the food to the table, especially today, people are nervous, eating too many carbs. The bread is all of a sudden not such a choshev inyan in people's mind.
Really quick bread.
So, yeah, exactly.
Pesach and Shlomo Zayis and Shabbos.
But people don't realize that. So the eitzah yutza, the best eitzah is not to bring out the food for 5-6 minutes after Amoitzi Lechem and Oretz. So people are hungry. People are hungry, and the only thing on the table is challah. So diet ahin, diet aher, carbs ahin, carbs aher. You don't even think about it. There's nothing else on the table. There's only challah. So all the mesubim will end up eating kabetz of challah. So there's no shayla on the bracha onto the yodayim. Yeah, it's a good idea, no? You don't put any other food on the table for the first 6 minutes. So everyone ate up for sure a kabetza and plus.
But that's when
And
you
they
don't want to
did-
tell them because you're afraid that they're not going to do it.
No, don't
But
say
the
anything.
people who listen,
As soon as
have to
you
tell
say,
them,
you
hey,
ruined
do it.
You say you ruined it, but then people are conscious. It's subconscious. People are hungry. They're waiting. It's coming soon to the table. The violet, there's only challah on the table. There's only challah on the table. People are hungry. Eat. So then there's no shaila. They ate the mitzvahs. They did the mitzvahs through the Shabbos, and they ate a kabetza pas. They made the bracha on the yodayim kedavoy. Everything is good. Otherwise, today in America, there are people that are nervous about eating bread and and they didn't need a kabetza. So shaila if they ate through the Shabbos. The shaila if they allowed to make on to the yodayim.
You can't, I thought you can't usually the other quickly.
You cannot. You cannot. No, you cannot. Only the bread.
Like that?
No, there's no opinion. Doesn't exist. That's a rumor. Yes. Let's read quickly in the Badei Shulchan. The Badei Shulchan writes the Sefer. I'm telling you, this trick works. It's not a theoretical trick. This is what I do at home, and it works. It works. The food is not on the table. You wait a few minutes, and then everyone eats up a kabetza pas. You don't have to say any lumdus. Everything works.
A lot of bread also.
Yeah, Shteitzach Shabbos. You have to give big
That's the
pieces.
good also.
Okay, that's not my business.
So what?
Yeah, Baruch Hashem. She does a good job at that. But okay, the Badei Shulchan says, "B'tshuvas Marish, Yisrael Yaakov Yavitz Avdet and Kremenchuk. Hevi Madmoir B'Yisrael Noyach Ben Admoir Atzamach Tzedek. V'atik Mimenu Shma Sheshayach Lakan." There was a Rav in Kremenchuk. Kremenchuk was a very choshev city at that time. Kremenchuk, a Berlach, right? Where's Kremenchuk today? It's in Russia and Ukraine. Anyone know?
Let's Google it.
Uh-huh.
It's somewhere.
Okay.
Name is
I- I-
what side are you?
I wonder if this is like,
Next to Prodigium.
I don't know. No, I don't think so.
Is that Kremenchuk or Kevin?
Kremenchuk, yeah, Kremenchuk. So he writes a letter to the Rav, the Av Bezin of Kremenchuk. And he says from his father, Rabbi Yisrael Noyach, the son of the Tzemach Tzedek, Ba'aitik V'menu Mashashayach L'kam, B'seder, B'sidur, B'din Ntilas yodayim, Sif Yud Ches, V'ashir Kazayis B'chtechem, V'spras, Ashpirish Poshur, Dazeisim Yitkufim Zelazeh, L'kam Azeisim, Sheyesh B'kazayis, Ken Yeshur B'chtechem, V'spras. Kamo is Beis Shiuri, Oy, Gimel Shiuri, sorry, it's a typo, Oy Gimel Shiuri, Kedechel V'spras, L'mar Kede Islay, Ad Kan L'shoyner. Masha Kotsa Shazeisim Yitkufim Zelazeh. He says that Zaysim have to be close to each other. Take a v'achil zayis hasheni. V'rayim v'sayv dvarim. Random v'kabetza beis Zaysim yu beis shuru kadechel es prasen. Mevur shebein zayis b'lazayis lo yehefsek. I'm not sure what he means. It means he was reading that Rabbi Yisrael Noach meant that there shouldn't be a hefsek between one kedei achilas pras and the other, between the first 6 minutes and the second 6 minutes. It started if in Mazayis RIshon l'kabeitza. The Rebbe brings a kitz of this. The Rebbe started writing biur on Seder B'chtzanenu. Never got to it. It seems like the Rebbe got busy, and then the Rebbe became Rebbe, and it stayed in his desk. It was published later. I don't know why they never republished it. The Rebbe wrote on Seder Ntilas yodayim. He wrote a lot of very choshev hours, but then at some point he ran out. He didn't write anymore, and it seems in his own notebook he wrote little nakudas that he was planning to think about. And this is one of them. He quotes the Badei Shulchan, but if they ever had an opinion, so he posed, we'd go with that. But he didn't have an opinion. He just quotes. He quotes these verbatim. So I don't know, whatever. Anyway, at that time, the Rebbe was planning to print the Seder B'chtzanenu with Alter Rebbe with a commentary of a grandson of the Tzemach Tzedek. Tzemach Tzedek had a grandson, a youngest son, Rabbi Yosef Yitzchak. Incidentally, was also the grandfather of the Friedrich Rebbe, whose name is Rabbi Yosef Yitzchak, after, because his mother was a daughter of this Rebbe, and his mother had a brother, the Pshnei Zalman, who was a Rav Berditchev, and he wrote a Sefer Shem Gedolim, a pirush on the Seder B'chtzanenu of the Alter Rebbe. The Rebbe was preparing to print it, and Hakel Bakel Mikkel seemed to have stayed in the Rebbe's desk, and it stayed there from 1946 until 1994, at which point it was printed. It's incomplete, but whatever, it's printed.
It wasn't edited. It wasn't
Right, the Rebbe didn't get a chance to go through the whole thing.
Built on it.
Right.
You have an English version.
Of what? No, they don't have an English version of this. They have of Seder B'chtzanenu. But the Shem Gedolim and the Rebbe's Ha'oras, they don't have an English. So in the Sefer Shem Gedolim, he writes on this halacha from the Alter Rebbe, Ayin Krisis Daf Yud Gimel, Meimre der Avnoi v'tiyufte v'tzorich iyun. He's saying, look in the Gemara, it's a Krisis, and you'll understand there's a tzorich iyun on the Alter Rebbe. Okay. Piques my interest. Someone says tzorich iyun on the Alter Rebbe, look in the Gemara Krisis. So I want to look. Let's look. The Gemara says in Krisis, Amar Avnoi Yom Shmuel. A chalovim on nevela is a person that eats a nevela. So Rashi says he can eat a chatzik azayis and a chatzik azayis. Yishem etchila v'atzoyv b'chdei achilas pras. Obviously, we don't pass it that way. We hold that you have
We
to
say
be
not to sure as us, sir.
also, but in order to be chayev, he has to be a kazayis b'chdei achilas a full kazayis b'chdei achilas pras.
It's for them, it's Kollel. I love it. Check it, go second.
This is talking real chayva. I mean, I'm sorry. This we do go with this. Yeah, that the kazayis has to be b'chdei achilas pras. I'm sorry. Next line is what we don't go with. That's what we do. We say the shir of achila is a kazayis b'chdei achilas pras. Oichlen, tameim, shkotzim, ramosim, amashkin, afila kolayim kulay b'chdei achilas pras. even if he eats it a whole day, as long as it's b'chdei achilas paraslan. The Gemara asks, Micah Omar, it sounds like Chinese. What are you saying? Omar Omar. This is what we're saying. I feel like Kollel kula, even if he ate it in the entire day, in order for a person, for example, to eat oichlin tmeim and this gevia, his body should become tummy. In order for you to eat oichlin tmeim and the body should become tummy, you have to eat a chatzi pras or kabetza, whatever. So that kabetza or that chatzi pras that you have, which is maybe 2 kabetzas, 1 or 2 kabetzim you have to eat, or kabetza and a half, in order for your goof to become tummy. If it's when you eat oichlin tmeim, pras, because a whole loaf is RIshon. If it's 4 beitzim and a half is 2, or it's 3 and a half is 1 and a half. No. You have to eat. He has to eat. In order he has to eat oichlin tmeim. And if he eats oichlin tmeim this year of a kabetza or a chatzi pras, his goof becomes tummy, which is a kabeya is never, no, it's the minimum is a kabeya and a half. A pras is either 4, which half is 2, or it's 3 and a half is 1 and a half. So bottom line is it's a kabetza or it's a chatzi pras, and he eats a kazai. Say he eats a kazai. Say it's 2 kabetza. And say every kabetza has 2 kazaisim. So he has to eat 4 to make his body tummy. He has to eat 4 kazaisim of oichlin tmei. So Rava says
4 kazaisim or 1 kazais in the time, or
4 kazaisim. If you said a chatzi pras is 2 kabetsim and a kabetza is 2 zaisim, so it's 4 kazaisim. So if whatever the shear could vary a little more or less, whatever. But if you say a loaf is 4 kabetsim, half a loaf is 2 kabetsim. Every beitza is 2 kazaisim, so he has to eat 4 kazaisim in order to make his body tummy from oichlin tmeim. So the Papa said what Rava meant was he could eat lamazogna b'chdei achilas pras in 6 minutes. He eats 1 kazayis, he waits an hour. 2nd kazayis, waits an hour. 3rd kazayis, waits an hour. 4th kazayis, waits an hour. He became tummy. I feel like Kollel yom kula is mitzdarif. That's what the Papa is saying. I feel like Kollel yom kula. Kazayis, every kazayis of this year, he ate b'chdei achilas pras. Meisvi. So the Gemara asked, I have a kasha. We learned Kollel oichel mitzdarif and lives like near b'chatzi pras. My love the oichel l'chatzi pras b'chdei achilas pras. Lo the oichel kazayis b'chdei achilas pras. Meisvi Kollel oichel mitzdarif and lives like near b'chatzi pras. B'chdei achilas pras. Ketzad ochal b'choza v'ochal. Im yesh v'tchilas achilas shena tzeh achilas cheren b'chdei achilas pras. Mitzdarf and Yosef mitzdarf and Ktoni miyas im yesh v'tchilas achilas rishon v'tzeh achilas cheren b'chdei achilas pras. It has to be 1 achilas pras. Right. 1 second. Tiyufte the Ravnoi tiyufte. The Gemara says we slugged up Ravnoi. So Ravnoi said the way the Papa explained, that if a person wants to become tummy, let's just for argument's sake, I'm trying desperately to become tummy. I want to be lifsalas agvia. So if I'm trying desperately to become tummy, how do I do it? So Rav Noi said you could eat every kazais nachilas pras. So if you need to eat 4 zaysim to do the job, on the top of the hour you eat 1 kazais. After 4 tummy, bingo, you're tummy.
There's a syrup between even hours and parts.
Kollel yom kula. That's what he says. The whole day. And the Gemara says, Ogishlogan, if no, he's wrong. And if you want to make your guf tama, you got to do it in one go. You got to waff it down in 1 kedei achilas pras. Otherwise, your guf is not going to become tama. You don't get the prize. So that seems to be the halacha. So what's the question that Shem Gedolim is asking the Alter Rebbe? From the Alter Rebbe, it sounds like when you want to do sudas shabbas, you don't have to do it in 1 kedei achilas pras. You could do it in a little more. That's what the Lashon of the Alter Rebbe was. It sounds like you could do it in a little more time. So he's saying what the Gemara Knissos, the Gemara says everything you got to do in Kedei Achilus Pras. There's nothing, it's Allah Moshe Messinai, that a sheet is Kedei. If you want to consider this eating, Kazayis is B'Chdei Achilus Pras, Akiseves is B'Chdei Achilus Pras, a chatzi pras kedei achilas pras, a kabetza v'chdei achilas pras. The Eibushter told Moshe Rabbeinu when he was on Mount Sinai, what's the shear of something? If a person eats a little burger, cheeseburger, a crumb, and an hour later another crumb, is that you get malchus or not? So the Rebbe Shalom told Moshe Rabbeinu, listen, the rule is kedei achilas pras. If you eat the shear in the achilas pras, it's considered one achila. What's achilas pras? As I said, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 6 minutes, 8 minutes, 9 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever. Let's, for argument's sake, go right now with the 6-minute shear. You know, the Gemara is saying at the end, has to be done within 6 minutes. That's why the Tehillah David, who is a größer Goyen, Sharfer, and he said, that's why he angetayt shalom in the Alter Rebbe, and he said that's what the Alter Rebbe meant. When the Alter Rebbe said, Vashir l'tzaref kebetzu sheyochel kol kazayis b'chdei achilas pras, he meant all the zaysim have to be eaten within one achilas pras. It really doesn't sound that way for the Alter Rebbe.
What? For sudas shabbas.
So the Shabbos one kebetza. So that
you
one
decide to
kebetza,
have more than that. That's your
you
business.
can eat double, triple, no problem. You have to have one kebetza. So
Within
according to
achilas pras.
within achilas pras. And now I will say that it's the reason I'm saying 6 minutes is because nothing here is a deiraisa. Unless you hold it's the Shabbos, but it has to have pas with deiraisa. It's a whole discussion of the Shagasaya. Probably it's not true that you need to have pas with deiraisa. It's really probably the Rabbanon. So, but the Rabbanon were important people. The Rabbanon said Yiddelach, you have to eat pas for Shabbos and Yom Tov. That's what we should do. So you can go with the shear of 6 minutes. And the same thing, like Ntilas, you can go with the shear at 6 minutes. For sure, for Ntilas, you can go with the shear of 6 minutes. Because even if it's less than a kabetza, there's a suffix. It's like a svek and broch. So you can make a brocha. So I think the shear of 6 minutes is good. Yeah.
What's the measurement of kibetza? Would a overall be considered kibetza? If I would have to break it,
I think the going thing from Rabbi Avram Chaim Noah is a kibetza is about 2 ounces. It's a give and take. If someone can look it up.
with issues. What on Shabbos I'm not going to have a bakery place out. So approximately
Probably a half a bagel.
half a
The
day.
size of about a half a bagel.
Okay.
Maybe a little more.
So if I eat a full olive roll, I'm good.
Oh yeah, sure. I would say a challah roll, maybe those small challah rolls, 2/3 maybe.
So as long as I eat a full olive roll during each meal, I'm good.
2/3. You don't have to go as much as a whole challah roll.
It has to be within, let's
If
say.
you want to be mahader, you could do a whole
It
challah
has
roll.
to be within
But
6 minutes.
according to the Tila David, it has to be within 6 minutes. So some people, I take a crumb of challah, and then an hour later another crumb of challah. It's not mitzvah. It has to be within 6
I'll make
minutes.
sure to do 6 minutes.
Huh?
Yom Rabbanon, if you go to Kollel.
Yeah.
Okay, so if there is a shipper that says 9 or 10 minutes, why from the 4 we go to the 6? We should even go to the 10 because it's still with the Rabbanon. The whole thing.
The dolfin today does 4 minutes. He brings it. Some tzedek told him 6 minutes. 6 minutes. I don't. The sheet of 9 is it's not so.
If someone is sick.
Okay, one more little piece to Gemara. Huh?
Where do you body?
Huh? The V is the body. Yes. Yeah.
Kremenchuk is between Dnipropetrovsk and Kiev.
So it's in Ukraine. Okay.
Yeah.
So we don't know if that city exists
Close to
anymore or not.
Cherkasy, close to Poltava, close to Kharkov. Yeah.
Okay, so it's those places where the bombs are falling.
On the way, close to Mykolaiv.
Babish over there. Okay. Yuma, the Gemara Zog, Maske Fladova.
Rabbi Google says Central Ukraine.
Okay, thank you. Rabbi Google. Yuma, the Gemara says in that pyramid base, Maske Fladova, Kazais Bachdechilus Praz, Vikisevis Bachdechilus Praz. Rabbi said, I don't understand. But some of them are very funny people, said Rabbi. You're telling me that you have to eat in the shear of Achdilas Pras. A kazayis, lagabi all these sudas Shabbat and Yom Kippur a kesevis. Kesevis is much bigger than a kazayis. So he says, I don't understand, said Rabbi. If you're telling me 6 minutes is gonna do for an ounce, so shouldn't you tell me when it's 2 ounces, it's 12 minutes? No, always 6 minutes. Does it make sense? Is it over? Amalei Abaya answered him, Kimlu Larabon the Bahochi Miyas Vedaite. Betvei Mahochi Loy Miyas Vedaite. If you eat it within less than 6 minutes, a person's calmed down his hunger pains. It's more than 6 minutes, he won't calm down his hunger pain. Maskef Leirov, we learned that in order to be metama the body is b'chdei achilus paras, chatzi paras b'chdei achilus paras. If you eat al chatzi paras b'chdei achilus paras, Amar leida papa hanachlu tumas gviya de lav deiraisa. Let's leave aside tumas gviya, which is not deiraisa. So therefore, Chum didn't want to be machmir so much. Okay. So the kisevis is a date. A date. So bigger than a kazai. Yeah. Yeah, somewhere in between, like a zayis and a bayit. What we see from the Gemara is in the Maskana here that that Chachamim didn't want to be machmir in order to be poisel the body. They didn't want to be machmir so much, and they said if you eat it in more than achilas pras, we're not going to be machmir on you so much. We're not going to be machmir on you so much. You have to realize what was the reason the Chachamim said that the body is going to become tummy. They said that it was scared that a person is going to have a kabetza of food in their mouth, and they're going to drink something, and they're going to make the truma tummy. It'll only the tumah is only going to happen if there's a full kabetz in the person's mouth, for whatever reason. So Chachamim said, what happens if he doesn't have a full kabetz in his mouth? But if it's within 6 minutes, it's all mitzurif. But if it's in 12 minutes and 20 minutes, it doesn't make sense to be mitzarif it. We want to be poisel sagvia. But could be lagabe in the Ntilas yodayim. Take, I don't think it's such an outlandish thing to say that when Chachamim, the Gemara answered that like lagabe Yom Kippur, Chachamim know that you got to eat the food in less than 6 minutes. Lagabe lifsel sagvia, we didn't want to be machmir. And other things, lagabe Ntilas yodayim, maybe it's more. Maybe it's more than 6 minutes. Maybe it's more. I think the Alter Rebbe did try to say a chiddush because it's not. And I think the Alter Rebbe holds that it could be more than 6 minutes. I think the Alter Rebbe goes, Elama, how long? So say 12 minutes. Say 12 minutes. That say that the minimum in a kabetza there's 2 kazeisa. And say, but if it's consecutive, so instead of 6 minutes, it'd be 12 minutes. So to sum, and I'm not going to go into the other 2 shittas now because
So you tell your wife not to bring the fish.
The best thing is if you can eat up the kabetza in 6 minutes. But if you can't do it in 6 minutes, 12 minutes will do. Again, to summarize, we're talking about now 2 things. We're talking about sudas shabbas and Yom Tov, which you have to have a kabetza of bread, which is about 2 ounces, which if you're asking a challah roll, it's probably about 2/3 of a challah roll. And the shaila is you need to have a kabetza in order to make the bracha on Ntilas yodayim, in order to do the mitzvah sudas shabbos v'yom tov. What we're saying now is, what's the time? So one shit is that it got to be in 1 kedei achilas pras, which is 6 minutes. I don't think the Alter Rebbe was trying to be makel here, but the next step would be to say 12 minutes. But like I said before, the way to do a trick, if you want to trick the family and make sure that everyone eats a kabetza, is you don't bring out the food. If you don't bring out the food, the people will eat. They'll eat a kabetza and they'll be makayim. As I said, the mitzvah of eating a sudas shabbos yom tov bread is a very important mitzvah. So we want to do it today. There's a whole thing about carbs ahin, carbs ahead, but the pasuk says lechem levav energisot. The pasuk said that what calms the heart of a human being is to eat lechem. It doesn't matter what dietitians say.
And also,
Huh? Oh yeah.
Was that what? What's this?
oh wow,
What the Rashi Tavis of what? What
Lechem levav energisot.
is what?
V'lechem.
Yoel?
it's cool. And the Rabbi Shabbos is about enjoyment.
Right.
Yeah.
So
that's why the Alter Rebbe says that a person should be smart about it. The Shabbos, the meals have to be a pleasure. That's why if you're going to eat Friday too much food, and then Friday night you're not going to enjoy the meal, that's not good. The same thing with sudas shlishis. If a person is going to eat too much in the meal in the morning and then not be able to eat shalosh sudas, that's what the Alter Rebbe says. Which a person should be careful. V'tzorich lizor b'sudas shlishis shel Shabbos, because you're going to eat too much in the morning meal. I just want to finish off Mamash Avot, so we have a third child. Someone asked me, I said, "Oh, Rabbi, I'm going to toyvel my dishes in the lake that's right next to the house." I have to mention this. Toyveling in a lake is not always the biggest kunst. The water has to be stagnant. If it's rainwater, it has to be ashboiden. So a lot of these
Staying one place.
it has to be stagnant, ashboiden. It has to be stagnant. It's to stand in one place, right? Now, in a lot of if there's a dam and the water is leaking over, or there's pipes for whatever reason, and the water is going, you think you're looking at the body of water. If there's a pipe that's taking the water mahochel lahosam, so the water is right now zoichelin, so this is not a kosher mikveh. Plain and simple. Obviously, some bodies of water are kosher. You're saying when you toyvel dishes, you can't just because there's a big pool of water in front of you and it looks like from here to there it's big. It doesn't mean you can right away toyvel your dishes. For Shtetzach, there's a lot of places you could be toyvel the dishes.
Yes, the ocean, the river, these things.
What about
This guy asked me about a river.